Today I'm going to chat about energy usage, specifically electricity. Specifically electricity. It's kind of poetic. Poetry for the month, probably the year. So as with most things, if you want to optimize something, you first have to measure it. For example, when we moved into this house 4 years ago, my first monthly power bill was for $160. Now it's a big house, but there are only 2 people in it, and we both knew how to turn light switches off. So I tried to measure the energy usage, and did that by turning power breakers on and off and running out to the power meter and watching the rotation rate of the dial. I finally narrowed it down. The biggest problem was some silly roof-mounted snow-melting heater ropes. They were silly because they were on an unused part of a well-drained garage roof. So turned it off and solved that problem. Shortly after that, I installed a much better way of measuring a whole house power usage. Basically, you have 2 options, lots of options for doing this, all pretty affordable and pretty easy. One option is you open up, it sounds scary, but it's pretty easy. You open up the your power box, and you clamp 2 clamps onto the 2 incoming main power wires. The other option, the one I used, was simply to attach an LED sensor on top of the LED light that's on most of the power meters that are out there these days. So let me show you that, and then I'll show you some of the data we generate from that. So this is one of the kind of more modern energy meters. It's been out for 5 or so years. Instead of a dial, you have these LCDs, and you can see the frequency of that blinking square tells us what the rate of energy usage is. In addition to changing that blinking square at the top here, they have an LED. You can't see it there, it's infrared, but this little clamp-on sensor can see it, and he just monitors how fast that LED is blinking. And if you follow that wire up, we'll go into the garage and we'll see where that data goes. Okay, so out in the garage, that wire comes from over there over to this little box from a company called Watt Vision. He counts the frequency of the sensor LED on and off, so that's what that light does, and converts it into energy and sends that data to the cloud. We tap into that with some Mr. House code, so I can show you. For example, start a 10-second power test. So at the beginning, at the end of 10 seconds, it's going to tell me what the difference was between the power beginning and after that 10-second period. We should be able to see how much energy. You could hear that being announced in the house, and now you can see it being announced in my pocket and also displayed on the phone. I can also, for example, ask, what is the current power usage? And it'll tell me what the power usage is for the current. So it's also telling you how much power is being generated, which is something I'll show you in the next video. Okay, back inside. This is the Watt Vision site that's showing in this case, the daily usage for power. Now, one of the useful things I find in power monitoring is checking for the nighttime minimum. For example, here you can see we're down at 230 watts. You can see when the refrigerator kicks in, adds another 70 watts or so. But monitoring this data is very useful, because if something's wrong in your house, you left something on, or there's some big power drain, that number will go up from what it normally should be. So in the web page, you'll see some Mr. House code that monitors that and mails it, gives a daily summary of the nighttime minimum, so we can keep track of that. The other interface we have is this xIVLY site. Mr. House will log the Watt Vision data to here as well, and this gives you some nicer options. You can page between days pretty quickly, and you can look at daily, weekly, monthly views. You can also see some solar data here, but it's that. I'm running a little long for this video, so we'll chat about solar generation for you solar enthusiasts on the next video. Till then.